Yo, it's your boy Logos. And as you can see, I'm clearly a masochist. Because as much as I was tortured and clubbed over the head by the last video I reacted to from T Noir, back at it again. And this time, the title is Surviving Alpha Male Mentality. And I think on this video, I probably will agree with some stuff she says. Definitely a lot more than the last video. Because I don't agree with everything of the red pill. I do think some things and certain people are positive influences. And that doesn't mean I agree with everything they say. But overall, the pieces that you can take out and apply to your life is valuable. But there are also people on the other side that are unhinged. They are angry. They are hypocritical. And they don't control their emotions. And they're not the type of person I want to follow behind or listen to. I'm going to get deep into those type of people as they come up in the video. Of course, I expect Fresh and Fit, Kevin Samuels. Uh, uh, we don't know that many more because I listen like Jordan Peterson and Patrice O'Neal. You could say those people are red pill, but I don't see them in the same vein as Fresh and Fit, to be honest with you. So let's get into this video and see what she has to say. And I have a drink right here to try to numb my pain as I get through this. Probably cut up into two parts because this is a 45-minute video or 44-minute video. And the last one that was only 26 minutes ended up being an hour and a half. But let's get into it.
Women want to be fucking tamed. Well, the feminine women, not the masculine motherfucker, not these feminists, but the feminine women want a man that's keep them motherfucking in check.
32-year-old man is not the same as a 32-year-old woman.
I agree.
I know some of you guys might not like hearing that, but typically as women age, they lose their value.
The problem is today, far too many of you women think you're f***ing special. You're not special. You're just a woman.
There's nothing wrong with that. Same way with men. Just because you're a man doesn't make you some type of god or superhero or anything like that. You're just a man. You're doing man things. Like the whole idea of like giving birth is a superpower is not a superpower. You're designed to do that. So it's not a superpower. If you was able to produce a baby within 2 months or 3 months, and that baby was like Superman, it developed, it has super strength and superpowers, then you have a superpower as a woman when it comes to giving birth. Because you're doing something that's abnormal compared to all the other women on the planet. That doesn't mean you giving birth isn't important and dangerous. Understand that, 'cause I know you're fucking ripping your hair out, acting like I attacked you personally. I'm just saying it's not a superhuman thing because every woman or most women can do that, or you're designed to do that. That's the difference. Just the same way men being very strong and stronger than women isn't a superpower. We're designed that way. It is what it is. Be upset, because some people will be.
Hi everyone, welcome to this video. My name is T if you're new here, and I don't have my notes fully memorized. Just thought I'd confess early. So obviously I'm away from my typical recording enviro. Honestly, I've just been running on straight vibes for like the past couple of weeks, which is good because it gave me the bravery to like actually sit down and do this video, but clearly not the discipline to commit it to memory. No, but we're here now. It's all good. Onward we move. Oh yeah, and I really do hope everyone's day is going well. So wow, the day has finally come. Let me be clear. The He-Man woman hater crowd has always been a fucking problem. But in recent years, we've seen a spike in a similar online niche that has been dubbed the Manosphere. Now within the Manosphere are a number of groups that range from incel uprisings to masculinity seminars, with a common ground in sexist ideology is probably the better word, and feminist repulsion. So obviously this is perfect for me. This is a safe space for me, clearly. And if you want a full breakdown, FD Signifier recently released a video diving deep.
Yeah, and I reacted to that video, and like I said on previous FD Signifier content that I reacted 2 months ago, he's full of shit. Blatantly full of shit. I love nothing more than a Marxist communist that makes money off of YouTube ad revenue from capitalist corporations. What a fucking joke. I love a Marxist that use capitalism to their benefit while at the same time talk about overthrowing it. You fucking joke of a man. When I call him FD organism, yeah, I didn't even see him like even worthwhile calling him like his name or like a human. Like, cause it just, oh yeah, plus he talks about how he doesn't debate people. He wants people to pay him to debate his dumb ass. Like, I would be on crack cocaine if I did something that stupid. Seriously, no.
Into the pits of the Manosphere,
FD
and
signifier.
Feek
Alright, this is
never
gonna go
disappoints
good.
when it comes to a deep dive. So check that out. And you just might see him pop up in this video. You just might see a couple
Oh
people
no.
pop up. We'll see. But today, instead of talking about the entire sphere, I'm jumping right into the line of fire and tackling what some may call the worst of the worst. Alpha male podcast. Now, I understand this whole digital alpha male mentality epidemic to be a tool of persuasion, which
I agree with that. I'm of the opinion that if you need to say that you're an alpha male, or you're this, or you're that, or you're the other, 9 times out of 10 you're not that. I would say men and women know who guys of leadership quality are. I will say, instead of saying alpha male, I'll just say guys of leadership quality. Because usually the alpha male characteristics are really just like mainly like leadership characteristics. And certain men are men you will like follow into war, follow into gunfire, because you trust and believe in them, and you know they're not going to sell you out. You know that their quality and their competence is worthwhile following behind. Guys like David Goggins, like Jocko Willenick, like, and of course those are easy choices because those guys are like Navy SEALs. They have well, no, Jocko got a podcast. David Goggins doesn't. He has books which I read, and they talk about, well, David Goggins talk about how he made himself into what he is, but he doesn't talk about alpha male, this, that, and the other. He talk about getting after it, making yourself stronger through hard work, through going to the gym, through working hard, and then using that to make your mind stronger. So I agree with her about alpha male type stuff, at least what she just said right there. And I do think there are channels that prey upon those type of things to get money out of the audiences. I'm not giving you shit. Sorry.
which pretty much promotes that the natural order of humanity is for men to engage in morally and ethically deficient behavior, specifically at the cost of women's pride and respect. Now, that's the key. That's the only way it hits. Furthermore, and this is the real kicker, we should like it. We should like it. Women should enjoy and support this natural order.
But here's the thing. Women will say that guys, certain guys who may act that certain way are assholes, but then oftentimes they end up dating them, having sex with them, giving them children, then acting like, woe is me, I didn't know he was going to be like this. Even though he has a record, even though he has history and is known, they'll still go into it because they think I can fix him or he won't do that with me. But then when they get hurt, it's like all men's fault, or it's a red pill fault. At a certain point, you chose that man and you decide to ignore any white or red flags because you had butterflies or he made you excited or whatever. Like, seriously, you're a grown adult too. Don't act like you're always just a victim.
We should see it as less of a hindrance to us and more of a humble sacrifice for humanity. Okay, so when I first started writing this video, my initial response was, that shit ain't never gonna happen. It is like, give it up, because me and millions of, you know what? Let me just speak for myself. I'd rather cornrow grass. And because these alpha male ideals seem so incredibly unfathomable, I was like, it's kind of silly to allow myself to get super upset in the video making process. But then I take a look at the world around me. I take a look at these constant missions to strip women of their bodily autonomy. These constant debates about women's respect and women's purpose that are happening on a political level, a Congress floor level, a Supreme Court level, as if we really living in Gilead. And that's when I
Listen, you probably not like what I feel about this. I don't give a shit. I think women should be allowed to, decide what they should do with their bodies. But I don't think you should be using abortions or that type of stuff as a form of birth control. That's how I see it. Well, first of all, you're hurting yourself long term. Getting all those procedures done gonna make the chance of you getting pregnant in the future when you're actually ready that much harder. Second of all, we could play these, semantic games about, is it a baby, is it not? But I don't know. Once you start doing it like a lot, I think you're really now you're just you playing around too much. You're getting pretty fucked up with it. Why not just peel back? And I also think it's pretty funny how these women say they don't want men's opinion on this, but then at the same time, they want men to support this. They want men to vote in the favor of their side, but men can't have a vote or say on what their vote actually means or what their vote actually says. So I'm just supposed to blindly vote and support you getting an abortion. But then me at the same time, if you decide that you want an abortion and I'm the person that you had sex with, I have no influence on what happens. I could want to keep the kid and you don't, you still get an abortion. But at the same time, I can't have a vote on whether or not that's allowed. Like, who do you think we are? We're just supposed to just fall over and agree with every single thing you comes out of your mouth or anything that you say. And because of what? Because you're a woman? It makes no better sense than you agreeing everything that come out of my mouth just because I'm a man. It makes no sense to me.
I said, you know what? Fuck it. I give myself permission to be upset, and I hope you watching this can extend yourself that same grace, because these men might not be living in the state of powerless delusion that I've tried to comfort myself into believing they are. Because where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So there is still, in the very least, a market for these ideologies across genders, and at its most extreme, a world that sustains and reinforces them. And we gotta talk. Today's video, what I have lined up for you, for us, I'm sitting on a bad gal piece of information. Just you wait. Completing research for this.
I'm sure it'll be the arguments against the red pill that I haven't heard countless times before. From the organism or from other people, whether it be online, in person, different age groups. I'm sure she'll come up with some unique philosophy that is fucking world breaker, world changing. I am sure of it.
This video was a pain in several different parts of my body. I had to watch a lot of videos and listen to a lot of podcasts, and majority of that happened on my phone. And while I'm not proud about what was coming from within my phone of today's video. Chapter 1, Sexual Economics and the Modern Woman.
You know, I had a homegirl was finishing up her PhD, extremely successful, beautiful, and then like spent 3 years trying to find a husband. Luckily for her, she found one. But like that was her only goal in life. And to me, it was like, what, is it that serious?
Yeah.
What is he about to say? Why is that serious? This dumbass is fucking married with kids. What the hell you mean? It's different if you're not married and you don't see marriage as valuable. Are you? Who's gonna be taking care of you when you're older? Your employer, your boss that you probably talk shit about when you're not at work, or at work in of itself. Really, your career is more important than having a family, passing on your legacy, children. What you mean? Why?
Now it's easy for me to say because I was married and started my family and all that. So maybe I would feel differently, but it was something to her that she wasn't complete until she had that man. And so as that desperation increases, a guy like Kevin Samuels becomes more and more appealing.
I remember this one, he was alluding to women have to have children.
Oh yeah, here's another cute thing. I find it so funny, all the people that will come out and talk about Kevin Samuels now, but they have the balls to go on this show and debate him in person. I find y'all so brave, so inspiring. You're really taking that flag up strongly. And I think you are an image that everybody should run to. Because nothing says power, strength, and confidence than talking about a man after he's already dead. We had many previous opportunities to talk about him while he was alive. If you disagree with him, that's cool, that's fine, because I don't agree with every single thing Kevin Samuels says. But at least have the balls to talk about him on this show when you could. But now that he's dead, now I won't come out with the videos. Sounds like cowards to me, but whatever.
For their life to mean something, and it's like that. I think that's a dangerous thing to really say in a room full of women. Them saying all this inflammatory things in a room full of women who aren't saying anything, aren't challenging them, sort of nodding their heads to someone who's doing that. A lot of them will feel, oh, he must be right because these women aren't saying anything. I think at some point, if you really put them on the couch and have them deconstruct everything that they've ever thought. I really believe that at the root of it, it's the fear of being lonely.
Black women, we know they're they're the most educated population in the country. But the byproduct of that is Black women have realistic visions of that neoliberal success ladder, where I can be like, okay, I got my degree, I got access, I'm a hard worker, I'm talented, so I can get all the things that they say that I cannot get. And at some point, you got to check off men, right? Or you don't have the whole package.
Yep.
And so
It's not about, oh my God. They try to minimize it. It's about check off men. It's about, having somebody to come home to. What are you working for? What's your career for? What are you making all this money for? Just to buy material shit? Just to make other people on Instagram or social media jealous of your money because you can take pictures this, there, and the other by yourself? There's nothing wrong with doing that stuff, but have somebody that you care about with you. That's nothing about you needing a man. But here's the thing too. I think we need each other. Surprise, surprise. Like, oh my goodness. If all the men in this world would disappear, society would fall apart. Because all the infrastructure, many of the most important jobs in the world are ran by men. You can get upset. I don't give a fuck. But the flip side, if all the women was to disappear, yeah, men could get the society, keep on going, infrastructure would maintain. I don't know for how long, because the idea of, losing your girlfriend, losing your wife, you losing your sister, losing your mother is going to affect everybody. But we could still keep the infrastructure, civilization going for a little bit, but then we'll just die out because we can't reproduce. So the whole idea of, like, I need a man, I don't need no man, I do bad all by myself. Like, what's the good in that? Civilization didn't get to this point by acting that way. It's so stupid. Our Black community, when we was at our best, which is crazy enough, during the time of Jim Crow and slavery, where we had more together homes, more marriages, less broken homes. Like, people didn't think like this either. But now that careers and you working for, I want to know how many of these women buy into the the modern day identity politics stuff that they're pushing at colleges, where they got many of their degrees from. I was willing to say a lot. And I find it so funny how they can just dismiss the importance or benefits of having a good man around, but they just so enthralled or, I don't know, just captured by working for a company that doesn't really care about them. And oftentimes their bosses are right. Now, their bosses being right isn't a bad thing, but it seems to me kind of funny how they seem so repulsed by, I don't know, cooperating or working together with a man for a shared goal, but they're cool with giving away their hours to a company that doesn't really care about them and their boss who doesn't really care about them, who's right. But at the same time, they probably buy into, white supremacists still controlling the world, or, identity politics that's still going on in their mind that they got taught in college. You see the disconnect there? I'm not surprised because a lot of these people rarely make sense, but it's still like a slap in the face. I'm getting hit with that stupidity club again, just like the last video.
Maybe the key is like divesting, no pun intended, the desire to want all those things. Which, how do you tell that to Black women? How do I tell that to Black women as a Black man? Because then I start sounding like Kevin Samuels.
And like, how do I say that to Black women as a Black queer woman?
Right. And you can't, because I know they'll come for you the same. They'll come for you worse. They'll come for me. Real talk.
Yeah. Let's call a spade a spade. There are many women out there who have a deep-seated fear that they will end their lives without first becoming a wife or a mother. And these podcasters' awareness of this fear couldn't come at more of an advantage to them. Because not only did they...
Okay, here's another thing too. You don't think a lot of men, especially when you want to talk about incels and call some people, which are true, some people within red pill incels, you don't think men have the same fear, worry about, finding a partner, finding a woman, getting married and having family and passing down their legacy too? It's not just a woman thing. We are created for us to pass down our DNA, create legacy, create future generations. Like that's a natural thing of a living organism, human or not. Like, and it's not just a woman thing, it is a man thing too. Like I'm all for us men, working hard, driving, building up our legacy, but at the same time, who are you building this legacy for? If it's just for the world because you don't want to have kids, that's fine. Or you just want to enjoy yourself, that's fine. But if you want to have a family, if you want to have an emotional connection, which I think the vast majority of people do, you're gonna want a woman too before you die. That's not bad. But if you're a person that's all consumed by it and you're depressed and you're not actually doing things to make it happen, then that's a bad thing. But that's not directly related to you wanting to be with somebody. That's cool. That's fine. That's normal.
They not have to do the legwork of making that fear a reality, but I think they're also aware that the work it would take for women to not only combat that fear internally, but to defend themselves against the shame and humiliation that would be hurled at them externally, while also accepting that after all is said and done, they still might not get chose. Like they really might actually die alone. It's too much work. These podcasters recognize that that is too much work for most women, and we know that too. We being women who have or are in the process of letting that fear go, we know that shit can be difficult, which is why Kim Foster says a lot of y'all be feminists in the streets, pick me in the sheets. But what this allows though,
I swear, I was gonna do it. If I did react to this video, I was gonna do one where she had pick me, like a pick me paradox in the title, and I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be so stupid too. Because the whole idea of pick me is ridiculous. Just because a woman agrees with a certain thing that a man says, or men in general say, doesn't make her a pick me. Nor does that mean that she agrees with everything that man would say now, in the past, or in the future. Maybe she just agrees with that argument, idea, or quote unquote ideology that man just espoused. Also, who else is supposed to be picking her? Like, yeah, you may be queer and you may be attracted to whatever you're attracted to, but she's attracted to a man. Why would she give a flying hell about what some random woman online gotta say about her decisions or her actions when she's not gonna be, knowing of y'all? Something happens to her, y'all ass damn sure ain't gonna help her. Is probably gonna be the man that she's a quote unquote pick me to. Like, here's another thing. Not everybody is worth giving a shit about their opinion. People like her, people like FD Signifier, and many others. And you can feel that same way about my content. That's up to you. But how I live my life is, you should listen to just about everything people say, but that doesn't mean you agree with it, nor do you apply it, or nor do you think it's valid. You're just listening to it. And even if you disagree with it, at least you have an exposure to a new perspective that can maybe, tweak your argument, tweak the way you see things, or maybe even back up the way you see things. Maybe that's just what it is. But it's not about being a pick me. Jeez.
though, is for these podcasters to bring women onto their shows, explain their clearly imbalanced ideals to them, some of which may tamper with a couple human rights, and paint the narrative that all they're trying to do is just not make that fear a reality. They just looking out for us, trying to do what's in our best interest. Tough love, essentially. According to the alpha male universe, a woman is a being whose ultimate aspiration is cisgender, heterosexual marriage, and procreative motherhood. And because that aspiration is like...
Wait, what? She just painted a wide brush about the alpha male universe. So who is that? Who is alpha male universe? What, the creators, the people that consume their content, and anybody else that comes across it? Come on, man. Wait, and what? She said it was a woman according to the universe?
Trying to do what's in our best interest. Tough love, essentially. According to the alpha male universe, a woman is a being whose ultimate aspiration is cisgender, heterosexual.
A woman is a person with the chromosomes that correspond to a woman. A man is the chromosomes that corresponds to men. That's all it is. You don't have to be a quote unquote cisgender. It'll be a cold day in hell before I call myself a cisgender or anything. But either way, That's the whole problem with painting the whole whitewash. But also, I see why she does it. It's a way to dehumanize somebody, man. This stuff happens in war. This stuff happens in politics, in the past, and definitely today. Twitter, this, anything at all. It's just a way to dehumanize people and paint the whitewash. That way, after you dehumanize them, you can talk shit about them or put even worse labels on them, even if they may not be true. That's all it is. You see through the bullshit.
Marriage and procreative motherhood. And because that aspiration is like hardwired into us, apparently that's where all women can trace their true happiness and sense of self-importance back to. The traditional woman, the respectable woman, has no problem accepting that. But a modern woman, she tries to work her way around it. Now keep in mind, to them, marriage and motherhood is every woman's indisputable desire. So a modern woman still wants those things too, eventually. But in the meantime, she spends her early adulthood, which many of these men deem as a woman's prime, to essentially study the sexual...
What's that phrase supposed to be? Like what, shame? Oh no, men want you when you're at your prettiest. Oh no, men want you when you're in your prime. Like what? Like, oh my gosh, so shocking, so sexist. Who do they think they are for having preferences?
economy, identify men's vulnerabilities therein, and exploit them to her selfish advantage. According to Roy F. Baumeister and Kathleen D. Voss, authors of Sexual Economics, Sex as a Female Resource for Social Exchange in Heterosexual Interactions, a heterosexual community can be analyzed as a marketplace in which men seek to acquire sex from women by offering other resources in exchange. Societies will therefore define gender roles as if women are sellers and men are buyers of sex. Economic principles suggest that the price of sex will depend on supply and demand, competition among sellers, variations in product, collusion among sellers, and other factors. In the case of the modern woman, the factors she would use to her advantage are youth, beauty, and her being desired by multiple men, aka DMs jumping.
And isn't that exactly what a lot of women want? Call me crazy. I think a lot of women would like to be attractive, especially in this selfie, social media posting era. Come on now, like Instagram, any other social media, Snapchat. Like, let's not play stupid because it's going against your argument. Women in young adulthood. So, what I would say, like 20 to like what, 28, 27. I see a lot of young women very happy with their youth. Less wrinkles, more energy compared to later down the line. I don't know, man. I see this. These are all things that women want. But the whole idea that men care about these things too is certainly a bad thing. Like, how gullible am I supposed to be? Like, of course you want these things, but the whole idea of me wanting these things, you're just fucking awful. Like, oh my God, come on, yo. How simple-minded you have to be.
And she would couple that with men's disadvantages of a high sex drive, less opportunities to have sex, which of course depends on the man's environment and his desirability as well, like let's not play, and women colluding with other women to withhold sex from men for whatever reason. The resources that the modern woman would then gain from said exploitation are hoarded solely for herself, her stupid fucking feminist self.
What I'm seeing a lot is the definition of women to these alpha males is an incubator for a baby, someone to take half of your estate, someone who is not loyal and looks at life through the lens of rational choice theory, which is a term in political science that we use to talk about people who will do what they think is in their best interest at every expense. This is a belief system. This isn't the case. This is to say basically that, oh, people do not have any altruism. People do not care about others or anything. People are not empathetic. And that's the alpha male mindset and perspective. They don't see women as people, human beings that can care about another person. The men in these podcasts are basically saying that women want to use you for your money, use men for their money. They will get bored of men and they will jump to the next one.
Well, here's my thing. Of course, there's some people like that. That's on every side, man or woman. There's just people like that. You have to take your chances. That's the whole idea of this stuff. You don't know the future, but I think it's better to roll the dice and try to look at the factors, understand the person, get to know the person, and see if it's worthwhile taking a chance on. You can't control certain things. If you see a man like this and you're not attracted to it, just stay away. Not every guy sees women just like an incubator for children. Like that's ridiculous. I want a good, nice, kind woman, a feminine, nice woman. And she should be nice to our children. That's not shocking. That's not crazy. Like, honestly, some of these women that are like single mothers, I would like my wife to act the same way. Because a lot of these single mothers, part of the reason too, that I guess you could say maybe they throw a little extra even on top of it, is the fact that that's all that these kids have. So these women go even harder to try to be good parents to them. I think those are good things. Of course, having a man around would make things much better because, kids need a father and a mother. But my whole point is, just because men want feminine women doesn't mean we want to just control you. We just want somebody that's worthwhile being with, and someone that's worthwhile being the mother of our children. The same way you want a man that's worth being with, someone that makes you feel protected and loved, and will be a good father to your children. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's just a normal, rational thing.
It is going to better their situation. It totally negates any other type of faculty in women to care about anything else but what will better their circumstances in a capitalist mindset.
And she repeats this process with multiple men, typically beta men, because as we know, alpha men don't get played, which typically results in multiple sexual partners, which makes her more likely to bear children out of wedlock, or if she's a black woman, be branded a baby mama. And we already done talked about that shit.
I don't care what skin color you are. A baby mama is a baby mama. That's it. You could talk about all these, I don't know, societal stuff you or whatever, but for me and the people I associate with, you're not just a baby mama because you're black. You're a baby mama because the single mother part. That's it. And I don't think that's a badge of honor the way some of these women try to make it seem. That's it. That's how I see it. Like, sorry, I don't know what the fuck to tell you.
And with this lower market value that the modern woman has brought on herself, she still has the nerve to think that she still deserves to settle down with a good man. A good, high value man who will respect her. That's the modern woman.
First off, that's not modern. That's
right.
If you sit with a sociological lens and listen to these alpha male incel type dudes, they have a very astute grasp on the nature of hierarchies within sex. Like the concept of the sexual economy, that's just legit.
Yeah.
Now the problem is their prescriptions of it are all fucked up. But that's not new. The price of sex is different for women. Thus, women get to be more choosy. You know what I'm saying? And so that means, you may not get access to the partners that you desire. Sorry, bro. That's the sad thing about all this manosphere stuff, is that they're responding to a real problem, but they're giving the worst solutions from it.
I think the actual modernism...
I can't see. Here's the thing. I don't watch every single Manosphere red pill thing because I don't agree with most or a lot of it. But from the people that I have watched, they say more about increasing your own worth, making yourself a better person. That way, if you want to attain a certain level, then you work hard to get there. And then once you get there, you can pick and choose who you want to settle down with or devote your time with. Or if you don't even want to at all, that's up to you. And as far as I'm concerned, that is perfectly fine. That's no different than women picking and choosing who they want to settle down with. So I'm not going to act like men are devils because they're doing the same thing. Like, give me a break.
lies in the unconcealed nature of which the sexual economy is engaged in. So we are in a time where there is less social incentive to keep personal sexual relations private. In fact, quite the opposite. There are obvious reward systems in place for publicity of female sexuality, whether that's a hit record or more followers on Instagram. So women are more willing to and more supported when they speak more openly about sex, even if the frequency of which they are speaking about it doesn't necessarily match the frequency of which they are having it. That is a result of ever-shifting popular cultural norms, not the random discovery of a modern woman. And if these men were to just non-judgmentally
I want to make sure
personal sexual relations private.
That's the sad thing about all this manosphere stuff, is that they're responding to a real problem, but they're giving the worst solutions from it.
I think the actual modernism lies in the unconcealed nature of which the sexual economy is engaged in. So we are in a time where there is less social incentive to keep personal sexual relations private. In fact, quite the opposite. There are obvious reward systems in place for publicity of female sexuality.
Yeah, nah, it's pretty damn sad. I find it kind of funny how you want to be seen as more than a piece of meat or more than just sex, but the only thing you're really selling is sex. It's a joke. However you want, but it's a joke.
Whether that's a hit record or more followers on Instagram. So women are more willing to and more supported when they speak more openly about sex, even if the frequency of which they are speaking about it doesn't necessarily match the frequency of which they are having it. That is a result of ever-shifting popular cultural norms, not the random discovery of a modern woman. And if these men were to just non-judgmentally ask women about that, instead of trying to recreate them in their alpha male image, they would tell you.
Even just exclusive to the manosphere, the alpha male content creators, it's them, but also people who sort of align.
Let me see what the next chapter is, because I hope that she'll actually, she's not gonna have actually, clips from the podcast where they're saying these type of things. That way we can see like where is she getting an argument from. She's just gonna say it's happening, and then she's gonna pull on people that agree with her and say, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Even though I'm like, there's no evidence of it, I'm just supposed to go and blindly believe what she says of the blanket picture she painted. Is that really what it's gonna be? Because I'm looking through here, I don't see anything from any red pill people that I recognize, and there's not even that many. But yeah, it's literally the same people. It's just her, the nigga in the pink sweater, and the other FD organism, and the other dude right here. Like, is it? Oh my gosh! If you're making an argument, at least pull in examples of why you're saying what you're saying. For example, the Queen Cleopatra video from Jada Pinkett Smith is not a documentary. It's propaganda in a fiction film, and I pulled in pieces from the documentary when I did my reaction to it or review of it, explaining why, piece by piece, and then picking it apart. I'm not just saying Jada Pinkett's full of shit. Her historians are full of trash. They are not saying anything that's true, and I'm just letting you believe it. I am pulling in the clips of them saying stuff that makes no sense, and then I'm explaining why it makes no sense. That way you can at least see where I'm coming from. Even if you disagree for whatever reason, even if we're talking about factual history and you disagree, at least you can see where I'm coming from. I'm not seeing where she's coming from. I'm just seeing a whole bunch of people agreeing with whatever her opinion is. And that isn't really convincing for me unless I already had an issue with the red pill to begin with. Which is another reason why it's hard for me to take these people seriously, because it's nothing more than preaching to the choir. And I don't give a damn about the choir. I care about what makes sense. And this doesn't make sense.
And with that, without even calling themselves alpha males, a lot of men value women in a certain way where it's like they don't view women as human beings with their own thoughts and opinions and feelings and perspectives that like if you really want to find some kind of transactional value from women, it's perspective. They only view women sexually, romantically. I think that's a terrible thing to put across to an audience of people, especially to an audience of kids, because some of these kids are watching. They're being taught to be sociopathic, women-hating men who...
I agree with that. There are young kids watching this and being influenced by it, and they shouldn't be. For example, I think Aiden Ross dumbass. But Aiden Ross had a viewer or somebody, I think he was like a teenager or a teenage viewer from Twitch or no one from Kick, go up to him and say some crazy shit. And I think it was related towards like a woman or Andrew Tate. And it like threw him off and like, messed him up a little bit because yeah, little kids are hearing what you're saying and they're saying idiotic stuff because they can't like, parse out what makes sense and doesn't make sense. I have no problem with people using their free speech however they see fit. But because I think people should be allowed to, take in information and be an adult and use that information how they see fit. Problem is, it's not always adults that's watching it, but you can't always control that. Sometimes you do know. I would say Aiden Ross knows because the way he acts and the stuff that he plays or does is very childish and quite clearly is made for like teenagers and kids that are very underdevelopmentally. It is what it is. So I do agree with what he's saying right here, even though, broken clock is right twice a day.
Value the wrong things, value materialism, value sex, value status over being a decent person at the very least.
But shitty understanding aside, alpha male mentality references and blames the modern woman and the sexual economics theory for everything. And that is incredibly persuasive for their audience. I'm gonna give them that. One, because they can follow and reference a system of ideas that have been researched and discorded, constantly being discorded in scholarly spaces. So it makes them sound smart. And two, the sexual economics theory is easily digestible. Most people already view sex as transactional anyway, so whether they recognize the words sexual economics theory or not, they're probably still familiar with it in practice. So that scholarly backing, coupled with the cultural familiarity, are just a few of the many reasons why these ideologies can be pushed as philosophy. As if these podcasts are just the tireless pursuits of knowledge and truth, instead of what it really is. Bullshit. No. What it really is the failure to critically engage with a concept outside of its reality, or to even interrogate the factors that made it a reality. They fail to do the thought labor.
I wish you would interrogate the clips that you're referencing all this stuff from. That way I can see where exactly they are saying stuff that are wrong or bad. Because there are things that people are saying that are wrong, but you're not even, pulling up evidence. Plus, like I said like 10 minutes ago, you're painting the right brush over everybody. And I'm not just going to fall for that. Like I said, I think this really don't work. Some people that already had an issue or didn't like the red pill, so it's just feeding into what you already think or believe. And I'm not one of those people. I'm not trying to just get fed into already think and believe, or at least something like this when I've seen, at least the stuff I've seen, is not all bad. Definitely are stuff that are bad, and I've done reactions to it from like Fresh and Fit and other people. That's not everybody.
And to tell you the truth, I feel like this is why oblivion is such a comfort zone for so many people, myself included. Because we all love to assume that if we were alive when insert humanity shifting historical event here happened, that we would have been on the front lines making the mission succeed. Oh yes, we would have been resisting, we would have been abolishing, we would have been marching. Yet so many of us fail to simply imagine a reality that is different from what it currently is, much less be brave enough to take action and change it. And maybe that has to do with the egotistical ways in which we are taught history in school. Like for me, I was taught history.
Oh no, she's gonna go into history? Oh, this is gonna be absolutely adorable. Let's go. Let's do this.
As if the world we currently live in is the best humanity has ever been. So simply being alive at this point in time is progressive enough. I am on the...
No. That's not what people are saying at all. You're full of shit. People are living in the most comfortable, nicest time to be alive ever in human history. And I think you'll only disagree if you have no knowledge of history. And it is so insane hearing her say this from her using her video camera within the AC apartment with electricity, with makeup, to be free to think what she says and live how she does. She is a queer Black woman in the United States. Be queer and in another country in the same time period. Like, the Middle East or Saudi Arabia. Tell me how well that'll go for you. or be a just you're allowed to be a black person, be any person living around the time of the Black Death, or let's just not even go to the extremes. Just be a peasant working on a farm and risking the chance of being raided, killed, raped, or maybe even sold into slavery if you're not killed. Like, are you high? Are you high? This is not the easiest, nicest, most peaceful time in human history. It most certainly is. My goodness. Our generation hasn't even had a major war. Give me a freaking break. This is that is wild, man. That is crazy. Crazy. Please go to Africa and go to where they're, in the mines, getting out the lithium and all the stuff that makes these iPhones and Android devices and all the other technology that we enjoy. If you think this isn't the nice part of human history, why don't you go to a place in the same era that is very tough and is very much similar to how it was hundreds of years ago? Go to those places and tell me how nice it is. I'm sure you'll do just fine with your spaghetti straps and your chain and all the other stuff that you like to enjoy. I'm sure that stuff won't be minor in the way of you trying to survive on the frontier. Give me a break.
Right side of history, because good history is happening right now and I'm literally alive. I feel like that's how I was taught it. So yeah, I feel we are taught to
I think that's bullshit. I don't think that's how she taught it. I think that's just the way that she warped it in her mind to fuel her own argument. And then she went to college and bought into the nonsense brainwashing they feed you at college. She probably also had to warp there too. That is not the way it was taught. These events happen. Sometimes they'll go into deep depth about how it happened, but oftentimes your real understanding of history takes independent research and passion and enthusiasm. I learned way more, especially concerning history, outside of graduating compared to when I was in school for 12 years. I don't buy any of the shit she's saying.
create this huge degree of separation between the horrors, the documented horrors of humanity and modern day, instead of, again, interrogating the powers that created those horrors and exposing the fact that those powers are still in place. They are and modern in the horrors, the documented horrors of humanity and modern day, instead of, again, interrogating the powers that created those horrors and exposing the fact that those powers are still in place.
Which powers?
They are just lying dormant at best, attacking others at worst. But we'll get there. So yes, failure to engage with a concept beyond its tangible reality. The reality is, sexist undertones or not, me despising this shit or not, the sexual economy is participated in by a lot of people. And since human beings can survive without sex, but not without resources, within this economy,
humanity cannot survive without sex. Like, you can talk about an individual all you want. If all individuals decide to not have sex or couldn't have sex, our species would die out. It is necessary for us to keep going. And the whole idea of people wanting sex is natural. Now, being able to control yourself so you don't get a disease or you don't get pregnant or get a woman pregnant by somebody you don't want to be with for a long term, that's something separate. And of course, I have my opinion on that. But, sex, we do need that to survive as a species.
a gender imbalance will be born out of it. The sexual economy functions because female subjugation is woven into it on a molecular level. And obviously, if you're an alpha male enthusiast and your desire is to feel needed, powerful, and resourceful.
Wait, needed, powerful, resourceful. So when people say, protect women, protect black women, who are they asking to protect them? I know they ain't asking this queer woman. I know that for a fact. They're asking men. They're asking, especially when, talking about black women, they're talking about black men being able to protect black women, which I think should happen if that woman is somebody that you love and care about. I don't think men are born on this planet just to give up their lives and die on the store for any other woman that just walked past them. If because of black, white, or any other dumbass characteristic that these people think makes you more special than other people, I don't buy into that shit at all. If I care about you and you're in danger, I'm gonna protect you. Outside that, We'll see. Because shocking idea, the safety of my family and me being there for my kids is more important than some random woman who gonna have opinion about me online because I didn't jump in to a fight or anything that this black woman or any woman is involved in. Let's also not act like some of these women do messed up stuff to people, men or women, and some of the shit they get was brought onto them by themselves. The whole idea that you slapping a man around and then he decides to defend himself and then man is supposed to swoop in and save you, like, but they didn't give a shit when she was beating the shit out of him, is ridiculous to me. The man should be beating the fuck out of her. I think you should be better off restraining her. But if she keep chasing after you, you trying to walk away and she's still hitting you, I have no problem with you like putting her down. And by putting her down, I mean stopping her from hitting you. You shouldn't be trying to beat her ass, stomp her ass out, nothing like that. But make sure that she don't follow you no more. That way the whole conflict is over. This whole wishy-washy thing about one side can do something the other side can't is ridiculous to me. I think everybody should be able to control themselves, men or women. Don't let your anger control you, and don't let your jealousy, hate, envy control you either. That's how I see it.
And women come in and make that power useful. They make those resources useful. Isn't that what creates the value in a high value man? So I'm confused at the constant value.
What the fuck? Hold on. Maybe because I paused it and I just forgot where she left off, but what?
Because female subjugation is woven into it on a molecular level. And obviously, if you're an alpha male enthusiast and your desire is to feel needed, powerful, and resourceful, and women come in and make that power useful, they make those resources useful, isn't that what creates the value in a high value man? And make that power useful. They make those resources useful. Isn't that what?
Oh my, what? God, this almost makes one to just start off the next video from here. He's high value because of his career, his connections, his hard work, his value. Like, but he's not high value until you come in and you meet him. Then why did you want to be with him to begin with? A lot of these women that came on Kevin Samuel's show said they wanted a high value man, and they wanted a man that made six figures. They wanted his money and resources. So what are you talking about her coming in after she's only she initially attracted to him because of his resources, and the fact that she made him high value because she's used it? Like, what kind of warped, like, word salad backwards thinking is that? That is stupid. Oh my God.
What creates the value in a high value man? So I'm confused at the constant criticism because this works for you. In fact, it works exactly how you designed it. The harsh truth is, when you devote your life to achieving these alpha ideals, you are literally signing up for constant monetary and quantitative appraisals of your worth as a human being. And that's why fulfillment struggles to be found. Because with that signing up, when you devote your life to achieving these alpha ideals, you are literally signing up for constant monetary and quantitative appraisals of your worth as a human being. And that's why fulfillment struggles to be found. Because with that mindset, there will always be an opportunity for your humanity to be exploited. Whether that's by women, your community, or capitalism. Misha Lima is a TikTok creator with a plethora.
Hey, if anybody who watches her, he a Marxist too. Is she another Marxist that has ads and, you know, make money off of, you know, capitalist companies, but then want to talk shit on capitalism, want to overthrow the system? And she know one of them idiots. Please let me know. Because no wonder she had FD organism on, because he just another hypocrite too. Oh man, he can't make this stuff up.
Of videos dedicated to this
like the
topic.
Third time she said
and
capitalism.
Just like she said, instead of just saying, hey, this ain't working, let's try something different, these alpha male enthusiasts figure that the solution is to appraise women's humanity in the same way. What's her body count? What's her dress size? What's her shoe size? How many kids she got? And they,
I swear, much as they talk about gaslighting, this is some gaslighting. So a man caring about how heavy you are, what your shape is, the stuff that he finds attractive about you is what, sexist or bad? How many kids you have. So how many kids he would have to take care of if he decided to be with you is sexist and bad? How do you get this stupid?
They stick the worst of it, onto Black women. We are their easiest target because Black women, out of all women, are the most deviant from this white supremacist, capitalist, sexist ideal of which.
Oh my God. Ram, when you see this, Ram, remember what I said a couple videos back? When you said if you met a woman like on vacation and you wanted to marry her and you wouldn't bring her back to the States because you don't want her taking on this brainwashing like this. And I say, I don't know, man. I really don't want to leave America. More shit I see like this. I'm hearing you loud and clear, bro. I am hearing you. This is wild as hell. Because it'd be a cold day in hell before I marry a woman, and then I have to hear this nonsense that's coming out of this woman's mouth. Like, really? Like, having family is bad. Me being attracted to you for certain things are wrong. The whole idea of you desiring my resources and me desiring something out of you is bad. What else did she just say?
We are their easiest target because Black women, out of all women, are the most deviant from this white supremacist.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's another thing too. Everything is white supremacist. Everything is a capitalist ideology. Even though I'm willing to bet she enjoys all the fruits and the benefits of capitalism. I am hearing you, man, and I'm hearing you through these idiotic arguments. Because imagine, bro, you work hard, you built up your business, you're doing all the things you're supposed to do, and you find a good woman, and you didn't plan on finding this woman while you're on vacation, but you said, screw it, I want to see where this leads. So you help her come to America, and you know, y'all get married and everything, and then she started talking this nonsense. She started acting completely different than the way she was before, listening to nothing more than single women who can't get a man themselves. Holy crap. I would run to the freaking court and get a divorce. I can completely see what you're saying, man. I was wrong, you were right.
Capitalist, sexist ideal of which they all continuously fail to dominate.
The Black gender wars are as old as Black comedy, Black comedians. You know what I'm saying? Right. That goes back to Patrice O'Neal. That goes back to even like a Red Fox. You know what I'm saying? I remember growing up and local radio would always have at least one, you know, gender war segment a week where like Black men, the same, basically Clubhouse. Damn, I ain't right. I should have, that's a point I'm gonna make. But like, you know how Clubhouse is now, right?
Yeah.
Like that was Black talk radio in the 90s. Like it was the same exact, a man would call up and say, women, this, and the woman would call up and say, a man, that. And there would usually be a man and a woman like DJ, and it would be the same nonsense. So like the He-Man woman hater Black dude is an old trope. That's just, I think.
So in this situation, when it's a Black man calling in, he's a woman hater. When it's the woman doing it, he's just speaking her mind. This reminds me of another reason why I don't take women like her serious is you had these talk shows for decades now where they'll talk about relationships, men, all this other stuff. But when Black men start talking in your podcasts and just having the conversations online that we was already having in person in barbershops, they flip their shit. It's hard to take these type of people seriously. It's stupid.
Become more lucrative as the world has awakened to the love of embarrassing Black women.
Again, the He-Man woman hater crowd is nothing new, but reserving a special layer of humiliation specifically for Black women is what takes this from silly, ignorant locker room talk to Manosphere, to profitable, wealth amassing, fame.
Oh my God, this is so dumb. My biggest video was me talking about a woman who was a feminist talking about matriarchal societies are better than patriarchal societies, and she pulled out some BS examples of it. And I look them up as I'm recording, and I point out all these societies that she says are within patriarchal countries. That's the only reason why they can exist. Like, come on, man. This isn't just about black women. That was a white woman that I did that to. Like, you can go and see it. It's a top video on the channel. If you say something dumb, it's dumb. I just want to be a victim and just want to cry about something else to make your dumbass argument sound better. And I don't buy it in the least. Give me a break.
Building alpha male podcasts. We can talk for days about the expected female subordination within these ideologies and really get the people going.
Remember, subordination. Remember, she has a whole, I don't know what she defines by subordination. Probably some warped idea of what some men have said. I really don't trust her, to be honest, about anything. But either way, you don't want to be quote unquote subordinate or, listen. I'll just say listen to a man in his opinion or whatever. But at the same time, you want him to protect you and die for you and risk his life for you. Are you stupid? Yes, you are. But you don't have to answer that. It makes no sense. Everything you say makes no sense.
But when the face of who that is primarily being aimed at doesn't pass the paper bag test, when the name ends in an Isha or an Ikwa, when the archetype is opposite
I don't care if it's a Jennifer. You say something stupid, I'ma say it's something stupid. Once again, paint the right brush so it makes it easier for you to say some dumb shit after.
What people are trained to instinctively extend empathy and compassion to, these things get to happen without consequence. Chapter 2.
Okay, God. Oh, God. Wait, this is quite developed. Oh, God. Here go. Oh, my God. Here go the victim train again. I'm going to just stop it right here for part 1 because it's already an hour and I'm like halfway through. So I might as well do part 2 and make that an hour too. But like I knew I was going to agree with some things, but of course, a lot of nonsense. I'm bringing on FD Signifier, only guaranteed that too. And like I said, there is no evidence, there is no clips. She just says these what the people think. And, here's other people that agree with me too. That's not an argument. That's just you preaching to the choir. And that's the only people I think that would agree with this or be heavily influenced by it. People are already hateful, angry, and bitter about the stuff that Kevin Samuels or certain other men say. I don't agree with every single thing that comes out of Manosphere, but like I said, they're free to say what they want. The same way she's free to make these videos. You're free to have your little talk shows. Like, come on now. The whole idea that men can't have podcasts, but you can have these little talk shows or whatever. Like, shut up. It's just so dumb, hypocritical. If you don't like it, don't watch. That's all it gotta be. Nobody cares what you think, and nobody should be trying to change the way they think or say things simply because of the fact that you think they're, I don't know, this, that, and the other for it. If they're gonna change something, it's because it doesn't make any sense. It's illogical. It's not coming from a good place. Not because somebody's offended or they don't like it. Just because somebody doesn't like something doesn't make it not true. And I think you'll probably agree with that, but you'll probably agree with it on the flip side, agreeing from her point of view in the stuff in this video. Men who disagree with this, you'll be like, yo, this is the truth, and not everybody gonna like that. So don't act like it doesn't go both ways, or you don't want to like hear it or listen to it because it's not affecting you, or at least try to take it in and come up with some type of rebuttal. Either way, full of shit. Like the video, breathe around the. Wrap it up and do part 2, man, on the masochist stuff. Just like a flagellant, just whipping my back over and over again with like spikes at the end for the sake of content. No logic, at least from her, for content. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. It's your boy Logos. I'm finna try to get some ice in my head from being over the head of this stupidity club. I'll see you next time. Peace.